Hello. So happy to be back on the pod.
Okay, Hammer, fourth time on the podcast.
Is it fourth?
You're probably now one of the. I think you and Matt Hickman Brown Bear are both
Yes.
the joint leaders.
And we did one together. So
Yeah,
that
you
works.
did last time was what 2023 Christmas special. You came
Yeah.
on. How's it going? How's life?
It's good. And I think at that special we were talking about because I was just applying to River City jobs.
Yeah, and we worked together for
And now it's been like
2 years.
years
And
since
now
that
you're
happened.
writing an episode. I'm scripted it, and you.
I'm doing a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I got to write an episode because it was hard to work at EastEnders, then move to River City, do that for a year and a half. And then when I decided to leave, because knowing like, okay, if I go away, I can like visit my family in Canada and do all these other things. I still have my visa as a comedian that I need to be doing
You're
comedy.
a government-sponsored comedian.
I am a government-approved comedian. I'm on a global talent visa for comedy. And it feels ridiculous, but it's like I need to make money off
I think
comedy.
last time you were on the podcast, you've just been approved as well, right? Or you're waiting to be approved.
It was either waiting. It depends because I got notice of like it's been 2 years. I think the official date is in December, but like November is technically when I got notice.
Well, this is a very different vibe to I was saying to you. I interviewed the Minister for Creative
Yes.
Industries this morning, so it's like obviously it was good, but like this. It's a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
But a comedian friend, I was like, this is what you need after like a more like, you know.
I don't have any advisors behind me.
I know there's no advisor. We'd not went. You're not the government, but you are government approved.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, do you want to reintroduce yourself to the listeners? It's the first time we'd had video as well.
Yeah.
It's different to the Fringe. What was the Fringe show we did as well?
What's funny is that like you just get it looks like I have two little fun pigtails. Anyway, I'm going through a hair journey as always. My name is Kate Hammer. I am a comedian, writer, used to be storyliner, performer, director.
All the things.
Sketch
Molly
teacher.
Hyphen.
Yes.
Molly Hyphen.
Yeah.
But you kind of went full time basically being a stand-up, right? You're now making
Yeah.
a career from writing and doing stand-up.
Which
how's it
feels
been?
great. I mean, it's amazing because I saved up a bit of money after paying off all my visa debt, working at EastEnders in River City, saved up a bit. I went, okay, I need to commit to doing stand-up as much as I want to, which means, unfortunately, that I need to have an online presence bigger than what I do because I hate it. I want to just do the show. I want to be in front of people and have fun and make them look. Yes, I know. And it's like I have all these videos and I know how to edit. Like I edit I started a kind of sketch. Now I'm forgetting the word, not cooperative.
Sketch group
of people, yes. But it's like quite open, like a Scottish cohort, like where we want to keep it open to anyone who wants to put stuff in.
I have seen it all over Instagram, you and some other comics.
Yeah. So all of that is me and Chris Dudley editing, doing all of the post on that. And Heather Kondak Ross is the third. So we all write, we all help make it, and then Chris and I do post, and then we post it. But since I know how to edit, I know how to like put stuff online, but I'm way busier than I thought I would. Anyway, luckily comedy is paying so well that I've not touched that kind of savings that I put out for myself to go, okay, you're really committing for like 6 months. You're just going to live off this money and you're going to get yourself into debt. Because I think it's hard. It's a hard thing accepting not having money. And because I've already been there so many times, like, growing up, I was very good. I was out with a credit union. I was always taught how to like handle money and be really good with it. So I was never, anywhere close to broke because I don't go out that much. I don't have
you work every evening.
I work this is the thing. At River City, I save money because I was working during the day on not the best salary, but then working every night pretty much as well. So so I've managed to not touch that, but just kind of be making a bit of money on comedy, which is great. But then I'm like, I still haven't been clicking. I haven't done this stuff.
You have that thing where you like when you feel like you need to constantly earn money and work, and you're still like kind of nervous to spend it because you're a freelancer. You don't have like any real security.
But I think it's scary to invest in yourself because I think there's always, especially with the arts, because it's not objectively good or bad. You're not creating code that works or doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
You are putting yourself out there and you think, I think that's funny. And then some people will go, "No, it's not." And some people go, "Yes, it is." And, like, finding your audience and all that.
Mm.
Nish Kumar, I've probably said this on the podcast already before, to be honest, is this great kind of bit about how comedy is one of the only jobs you can have that people can actually deny that you're doing it. Because, yeah, that's not funny, that's not comedy, and you're like, "Well, it is to some
Tell us a
people."
joke.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, it's vulnerable to put yourself out there and invest in yourself because there's always the idea of, like, "What if I don't make it?
Yeah, and
What if I'm not good
what
enough?"
is making it as well? That's the other thing
Yes.
because you've done things this year, like being on the radio,
Yeah.
being paid to do some like TV stuff and things like that, which you probably 5 years ago that wouldn't be making it. But then
Oh,
you do it and you're like, "Have I made it now?" Like, and you don't feel
yeah.
like you have.
I was actually talking with a friend and I was like, we have to remind ourselves to look back because this is it. I would say I'm doing it. I am
Yeah.
a writer and comedian, and that's how I'm making
You're
my money.
writing an
That's how
episode of
I'm
TV
living.
right now.
My first broadcast credit. I've been on Breaking the News several times, which has been amazing. It's so fun.
Mm,
It's so well run. I've been on the Saturday show. Like, yeah, to be asked, like reached out to as a comedian to do gigs
mm.
is I'm doing it. You know, I'm not having to hustle to get gigs.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
a decently full schedule. This is amazing. I'm not rich, but I am like I am doing the thing.
Mhm.
And that's what we need to, yeah, be like, I feel so lucky that that I've reached this level that I
Yeah.
can make it work. But I know to keep growing and not that a growth mindset is what I'm about because I also want there
Yeah.
to be a limit. I don't want to take over the world. I don't want to be a part
You're
of
not Stephen
everything.
Bartlett.
No, yeah, I just want to be, I'm breaking even. I would love to be able to save a bit, a little bit more. So to do that, you have to invest in yourself and put out clips and try and get, I'm always a little hesitant about people, people are like, "Oh, I don't have an agent." I'm like, "Well, I don't need one right now." Like I'm doing, yes, it'd be great, but I also want to make sure it's the right agent.
But if I make sure it's the right thing.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
some people will go, "Well, you can always switch agents." I'm like, it feels very complicated. And like you would burn some bridges doing that, which
Mm.
is fine. But like, why not make sure the person that I actually end up working with is
Yeah.
really
And then you've
passionate
also
about
laid
me?
the groundwork and you know what your strengths are and you've got like that
Yes.
behind.
I don't need, yeah. So I do think that like, but yeah, it's one of the biggest, scariest things has been like accepting, being okay with going, I'm gonna not have money because I'm gonna invest in myself. And that's the only way to take myself to the next level, which I've still not been good at. I need to keep reminding myself. I'd be like, well, maybe I can apply to that job. I'm like, no, you don't have time for that. At the same time, I do think I finally kind of come around to being like, maybe I want a job that is like 1 or 2 days a week that I don't take home with me, like
Mm.
working at a cafe or a restaurant or a shop or something, because the one thing about, well, okay, working so hard, doing long hours in a TV job, and then almost every night going to do a comedy show, I think probably burnt me to a
Yeah,
deep
that's
level.
no. I mean, you used to come into work and I'd be like, you'd be like, I got back at
Mhm.
1:15
Yeah.
last night, and I'd be like, it's like 7 in the morning. Like, how have you done this? You on the train
Hours?
and be like, I'm gonna leave Kate alone until we get to the stop
I was
because
like,
she just needs to rest.
It was so much, but like I had to do it all. And
Mm.
I wanted to do it all, but I think doing it for that long probably burnt me out. But
Yeah.
what happens is my ADHD covers it a lot. So I just keep going. I
Mm.
just keep going. And then I thought,
But that's not also a good thing either, is it?
no, but this is the thing. If
Because
it's
you're
like,
like
I'll go to
tricking your brain.
Canada. I'll go to Canada and it'll be relaxing. You're like trying to see everyone and going all these places. And then, so that was great, but it's still busy, right? And then
Mm.
coming back, I thought July would be a down month, so busy with gigs. And then August was
The
the
fringe,
fringe.
yeah.
And then September ended up being like, you keep
Yeah.
thinking you're going to have a down month and it,
But are you able to say no to things? Do you feel like see if gigs come and say, got a gig tonight, and
mhm.
do you find you just say yes to everything because it's opportunity, it's money? Is it hard to?
It depends. I'm getting better at it. It is a
Mm.
journey.
It's really hard though, because
Oh, it's so hard.
today I was doing the interview this morning. I knew I was interviewing you. Then there's another interview I've been trying to schedule for ages, and I felt bad because I've had to rearrange it. And I was like, oh, maybe I could just squeeze it in. And then I was like, what are you doing? Don't do that.
See, you're
But you
better than
felt
me
no.
already.
I mean, it's taken me years to. I feel I can relate. Like I come home and I do this
Yeah,
podcast most nights, or I
yeah,
do something for it. And
yeah.
you always feel like you're chasing the day. I feel like a cat chasing a laser.
It's
I'm like, how do you? ever feel rested? Or
It's hard because, like, I've never thought about prioritizing rest time because I do really well with, like,
mm,
go, 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 and then have periods of rest. But for the last couple of years, because I've been on 3 visas and it's always
mm,
been a stressful thing of I need to say yes to every gig in order to feel like I have the best chance of getting this visa possible.
yeah.
And then you get the visa and everyone goes, "Oh my god, congratulations, you can relax now." And I'm like, "It has just begun. Like this is now I don't know. I should need to email my lawyer. I don't know what it looks like, but apparently they check up on me and it'll be in about
Mate,
6 months at
I love the
years.
idea that they come to one of your comedy shows,
But this is
and
it.
you'll be like, "Did she make anyone laugh?"
It's not about making people laugh. This is the best part is like I can be so shit at comedy. I just need to make money off comedy.
Mm,
That is fulfilling my visa is making money off comedy.
yeah.
So the hard thing about that is you're like, "How much?" And they go, "We're not gonna tell you." It's the same thing as like actually I
You can use it to
totally
put your
forgot I
rates up.
wanted to
Sorry, you
make
have
this
to pay
event.
me more. You have to pay me more.
I doing taxes here is at least so much better than in Canada
Really?
because so if you're on PAYE, you they do your taxes for you.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Incredible. I don't think you
I've
understand.
never had to do a tax return, to be fair. I've been quite lucky. I've always been through that.
That's insane. That's amazing. Why don't they do that? In Canada, you always have to do your own taxes. You always have to get your own software, so it's ridiculous and complicated. And then you do your own taxes and you go, "Here's the number I think I owe. Is that right?" And the government goes, "We'll see. We're gonna do our own calculations." And it's like, "So you know the number?" They're like, "Yeah, but we're not gonna tell you." It's this whole weird thing where they're like, "Mm, okay, that's how much you think you owe, all right." And then they do,
Mm,
and then they balance it out and they tell you how much you should actually owe or not
yeah.
owe. Where here it's like, "Yeah, of course, this is how much you've been paid, so here's how much you should owe." Unless I think you can go into it and be like, "Here, I should receive
Uh-huh.
extra." But as I need to do my taxes as a
That's
self-employed
fun. January
person,
time, always a laugh.
I'm doing it now. I did it the other day.
Uh,
So I need to get access to these
but I see
last
people
files
are
to
really like, "Oh my
confirm.
god, they're talking about taxes," but I think a lot of freelancers, creatives listening to this, that is actually the reality. A lot of people will get that. They have to do that.
Oh my
It's
god. Do you know the
the whole
hardest thing?
thing.
I'm better. I think every year I'm getting better, which is that doing it also the tax year why April 5th? What the hell is that about? This is so confusing.
I know, it's so
But
weird.
it's so weird doing it for like 2024 to 2025 while you're in and then, if you're doing it in January, you're in 2026 and you're doing it for
Yeah,
2 years. It's so wild.
I know, it's
But
mad.
doing this, I realized I had been kind of using 2 Excel pages to keep track, so I was kind of messy, and I wasn't doing month by month expenditure. So I had to go through
Mm,
basically a year of my expenses and piles of receipts and be like, what did I spend money on and what is available to be written off. Luckily, I take a million trains, so it's always easy to be like, "That's to Edinburgh." I've never once been to Edinburgh unless it's for a show or to meet people about a show. But this year, I'm a month behind now, but otherwise, I've been doing month by month expenditure. Like, okay, here, just so at the end of the tax year, it should be easy enough for me to just add up all the months, add up all the months out, and that should be done.
good.
But obviously, there's this new way coming
Well,
in.
it's all apps and stuff, right? It's gonna be, like, online or something.
And I think if you make less than a certain amount, you are exempt until 2027, and
Okay.
I'm part of that, I think, from what I've loosely read. So it shouldn't, like, kick in, but it's just ridiculous. I think it's, like, 4 times a year.
Oh, cool, wow.
Yeah. So it's just making it so much harder, and you need to do a separate
I wish
tax.
we should talk about this. I could have asked the Creative Industries Minister this
Oh my
morning.
gosh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, and you have to do it a separate tax return for each thing. So if I'm a comedian, that's one thing, but it's very confusing. It's like, but is my being a comedian on a radio show? Is that
Mm,
is that a separate thing, or being
yeah.
filmed for
It's
TV on a
interesting
radio
because now a
show?
lot of, like, the creative jobs are quite, like, people, TikTok accounts or their YouTube, like, this sort of what do they call it? The small creators, like,
Yeah,
workforce is, like, really becoming a thing.
exactly. But also then so much of us will also then like I teach courses and classes or at UWS I've been like guest lecturing. So is that a separate tax like how many tax refunds am I supposed to do as a self-employed person instead of being able
It
to
should just be
umbrella
an
it?
easy thing where you have an app and
Because also the thing is, we are not the people scamming the UK out of money. Like, I'm not allowed anyway, well, but in terms of my visa is one thing, but in terms of like freelancers, like if we're missing out any money, it's probably like £100. Like we're not, yes, Jimmy Carr, get that guy. The big comedians, but you're like people doing a tax refund for freelance under like £20,000. Like, come on, man. We're barely scraping by as is, and you're just gonna make it so much harder for us to
mm,
live as a freelancer.
yeah. No, it is an interesting one. I think one as well, something to go back to, we are talking about at the start, is like, I think when you're in your early 20s as a creative, you can get by being like, oh, I'll be broke for a few years
Yeah.
and I'll just give this a bloody good go. But then I think the older you get, like, I think when you're like in your late 20s, early 30s, and you're like been doing it for a long time and you start to get used to maybe having a bit of a salary, it's like the idea of being like, oh my God, I don't want to be broke doing this. This is miserable.
And like you said, the problem is like we're caught in this arrested development of
Mm.
emerging. You're an emerging. There's people that we know who are amazing and have made so much, but are still
Yeah.
emerging
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
keep getting an option or a pilot or this, and they're putting
Mm.
everything into making their own stuff, but they're not getting a
Yeah. Yeah.
commission. Not even that getting a commission would guarantee you anything anymore. You're
No.
still going to have to go back to going, well, what do I do now? Like there
Yeah.
aren't enough jobs, there isn't enough money, people are commissioning in a state of fear, so they're not taking any risks.
No.
And there's some strange, wild thought that all people want is high end drama. And the money isn't going to making it necessarily look good or the story being better. It's just throwing a lot of money at a problem. And it's so frustrating because, especially being in the comedy field, you go, I wish you would take one episode of those high end dramas, £1 million.
You can make 6 episodes something or something.
No, to make 10 pilots, 10 comedy pilots,
Hmm.
100,000 the pilot, that is more than enough to make 10
Yeah.
comedy. Then you are
Yeah. Yeah.
commissioning 10 new comedic writers, 10 directors. They can be working on a skeleton crew. It doesn't matter, but like, and if then you go, okay, and we're putting this out to pilot season, whether that's on iPlayer, on YouTube, or TXing, go whichever one gets the highest numbers, we'll commission a full series on
Mm.
because it's clearly landing with an audience. Great. And then if I was one of the people who didn't get the commission, I go, at least I have a credit that I can go to other commissioners with or streaming services. And you're like, you are actually investing in the community by giving people credits and a way to move forward. Because
Definitely.
this is it, is like you said, being broke in our 30s because we're stuck in this like emerging cycle because there is nowhere to move up because they're
And
not
then,
giving
and if
you.
you're even mid-level, it's like, like for me as a script editor, when I'm obviously getting made redundant next year, fun guys, please sponsor the podcast on Patreon or whatever. It all helps. But do you know what I mean? It's like, where do you go next? Because it's almost sometimes easier if you're a junior member of, say, you do my job, you're a script editor. It's sometimes easier to start somewhere as an assistant. But then if you're kind of too qualified for that, like I'm overqualified to do a job like that, but then I'm not qualified enough to go and be like work higher up. So do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like you're just stuck. And then it's like, where'd you go? And then also, as you say, there's loads of people that just go back into like getting money from like, I don't know, a fund for emerging talent, but they've been working in the industry for 7 years.
yeah,
So then it's blocking people who have had no experience, but then it's also they're not progressing. So it's
no.
just not just
Because it's just like, oh, apply to this lab, apply to this. And you're like, the amount of time it takes to apply to these things, yeah, on the chance that you could get it. And I've been accepted. Like I got on the Jen Mercurio lab, I got on the Torino Film Lab. Like those are great, but like at the end, I'm not ending up with like a clear path to something else, I
talent
think.
schemes as well. This is the thing, it's all these talent schemes, but I feel like sometimes they're just for show. Like people are like, I did a talent scheme, but it's like, I want a job. I don't want a talent.
I would love to see the numbers of like
Yeah.
even the BBC writers room, which
Mm.
I haven't applied to for the last however long, because again, it feels like one of those things of don't know if it's worth, like, even if you get on that
Mm.
scheme, what are the numbers of people who BBC is then commissioning or developing in a
Yeah.
development, like
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
actual paid development scheme?
Yeah. And they
Because
all,
all these things are unpaid, and you're like, yes, it's an amazing opportunity. Yes, like show us the numbers.
yeah. And that's when it goes back to class again. And again, and a lot of people that run these, it comes from a good place.
Oh, 100%.
They do lead to some good things. But if you come from a privileged background, you can afford to go and do an unpaid talent scheme
Yeah.
for 6 months. if you have a day job, it's really hard to like give up that and then go and do something to take that
Yeah.
risk.
I think it
And
was
this is
at
a big issue.
a Channel 4 thing. And again, like I say names only because it's like it's every commissioner, it's every production company and is would be amazing to get on them. And it comes from the right place. But it was a thing that's like, we need full dedication to this unpaid lab. And you're like,
Hmm.
but how? How is this in any way accessible? And then you have to look at what kind of writers you're going to get through that
Hmm.
because of the people who are more likely to be able
Yeah,
to afford doing that.
definitely.
And again, yeah, depending on visas, like certain people can get on public funding and certain people can't. So it's like if you can't, if I don't work, I don't eat kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really
And
tricky.
and I don't have a backup. So I love that the labs exist and that's great. But every email back is we got an we never expected 1,000 people to apply for this. That's amazing. We will not be able to give a specific feedback. You're like, I get that because so many people applied, but you probably have internal feedback that you've written. The least you could do because you've asked for, A, B, C, D, E. I spent a week putting it
Hmm.
together. And now, oh my gosh, due to overwhelming demand, we're still only picking one person. And you're like,
Hmm.
yeah, I
It's a
understand
real
that's the
problem, isn't it?
game and it's a
It's so
numbers
weird as well because
problem.
I've been on the other side of that and work what I've done worked in development before, and you have so many people sending stuff in,
Yeah.
can't physically get through it all. But then there's an issue there as well because
Yeah.
again, it shows you how desperate people are, how much talent exists out there.
Like put in certain and this is the, both sides of the coin is like you want to be say, okay, well, you need to have at least this, and this in order to apply for this thing. But then there might be an amazing writer who doesn't have those things. But then
Mm.
how
You
it
draw the line. It's so
yes.
tricky. Yeah, and the other issue, I mean, going back to that thing about £1 million, for example, you could do 10 pilots, whatever it might be. I think the issue is at the moment going back to the high end thing. And I was speaking about this to Ian Murray this morning, who's a creative industry minister. I was raising that we're losing soaps, obviously.
Yeah.
And again, I've been posting a lot of stuff about this on TikTok recently, and people argue, "Go, I don't watch soaps anymore," or blah blah. My point with that is, I'm not really talking about the quality of these shows. That's irrelevant for me. I get things are changing. Like there is a change in demographic. There is a
Yeah.
change in behavior. Things like YouTube getting watched more than I think it's the second most watched channel in the UK. That all makes sense. But what I'm saying is, if we are losing things like that, instead of just getting rid of them and then replacing them with free dramas, why can't we look at like we're going to replace them with some like lower budget stuff
Yeah.
that then will be a pipeline to feed the higher end stuff? Because in 10, 15 years, Netflix and Apple or all these big streamers are going to struggle when there's not enough talent to then make these big shows. So
Well,
it
yeah,
feeds
they're
into
gonna
each other.
make AI slop and it's gonna be
And that's a whole other
I know, and I don't wanna get into that because
yeah.
it's like it's terrifying and disgusting, and I don't understand what people don't people that I care about will be like, "Oh, I made this thing on AI," and I'm like, "You have kids. What do you mean? Like, how do you not know that you are destroying, 1,000 liters of water per bin?" I don't understand, like, the dissonance in place to, like, not link these things of like, "Oh, but I just did this thing because it's cute," and you're like, you put your face into AI? You gave your face to AI? That's AI's now. Your face is gone. Your face is anyway.
I got a row from Kate the other week at a party for admitting that I use ChatGPT for stuff, and she was like,
It's one of those things where I'm like, I also don't want I wanna keep it accessible, but I think it comes from this,
No, I
like,
know what you mean.
yeah, fear of going, "Oh "My god, we're it's a bubble and it's gonna explode and it's gonna
Mm.
affect everything." And also, yeah, it's art is, like, the one thing that brings joy to life. Why
What
can't we use
for?
AI to solve medical
But,
problems and leave the acting
but
bit
the
alone?
other thing as well for me is right. I think what I worry about it is that you're losing critical thinking and stuff.
Yes,
So
yes.
sometimes I've been like trying to come up with ideas, and I'll use like because even in parts of you've seen how they use AI to come up with generate ideas and stuff. So sometimes I've found myself using it for that, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, think.
The
Like, get
legality
bored.
around
Get
that is
bored for.
also quite
I know 'cause you're just stealing those ideas, like you know.
but it's also, like, if you're using ChatGPT, then legally and then that show gets commissioned,
Mm.
whose idea is that?
I know, but then they'd also scraped all these other. Do you know what I mean? It's mad as
100%,
well. So you're
yeah.
like, so you trained this? Yes, it's all about a train going. Never
Yeah,
mind.
but if we remove AI out because, like yeah, in how many years, A, the talent won't be there, but also, like, I do think basically, I was talking with a friend, and he's like, kind of feeling disheartened about the industry. and going, I don't know why I thought it would ever, I
Mm.
could make it when, of course, everything I love to watch had like a niche audience and was canceled after 2 seasons because it wasn't
Mm.
mainstream successful, but it was the best show. It was the best writing. It was, all these things. And you're like, yeah, I think there's a certain amount of acceptance that I go, okay, I'm not going to be the type of success I thought I was, in terms of like, oh, I can just make my own shows and this would be amazing. But like, what does this, I gotta like readdress, like, what does my total success look like?
Yeah, I think that's quite a hard one though, because again, like going back to something we said at the start, like what does making it actually mean?
Yeah.
Is it making a living as a comedian and doing that full time? That making it, or is making it when you had a hit show and you're like you got? Can I just say one of my most annoying things at the moment is can comedians stop having podcasts all the time? I mean, I know it's a bit rich, but like, I don't know, I'm kind of doing a niche thing, and it's for me, this is more educational. I'm trying to be a resource, but I feel like I go every comedian I love has a podcast. So some of them are really funny, but I'm like, come on, guys, you're
I
all
just want podcasts to have formats. I don't
yeah,
mind,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
when it's just like we just
That's
loose
exact.
chat for an
That's
hour.
exactly it. I think formats are great, right? But the amount now that's just like everyone has that, and it's like everyone's copied the rest of this format as well. So there's so many like politicians now. So it's like, oh, we're also a Tory-only merit politician, so we're gonna have another podcast. Like we've kind of done that format. Come up with
Yeah.
something original.
Yeah, or yeah,
I know it's
just
a bit rich, guys. I know I'm not,
no, but like even like a specific theme or something that people can know
mm,
because that's it. It's like, I mean, I'm a super visual learner, so podcasts in general. If I lose focus because I'm thinking about something else and then I come back and I have no idea what you're talking about. If it's a format, I go, oh well, I know this will be coming up, so
yeah,
at least
yeah.
I'll be caught on. It's like being able to turn on a game show and knowing that it's going to get to a point where you can jump back in again. But yeah, when it's just general chat, there's a bit of ego in terms of we're just so fantastic. People will just want to listen to me shoot the shit. Like, yeah, sure, maybe that's true.
Yeah, I think I'm just a bit of jealousy creeping out. How oversaturated is. I'm like, oh god, does everyone need one?
I just love it when it's like, and now we've come to the part of the show where, like, I love that kind of crap. I love when there's a bit of fake formatting in play of like to
Mm.
guide the conversation at least.
Yeah, I've not even prepared any questions for our chat today. This is just all unscripted. Normally, I'm quite
Off the dome,
quite
baby.
prepared, but I've had you on 3 times.
Yeah.
And I've asked you most things like, "So, where are you from, Kate? How did that influence your career?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those answers haven't changed.
No, I mean there is stuff, other things I want to ask you. Though. So, like, obviously done a bit of radio, a bit of TV work and stuff. But do you want? Is there anything you want to plug or anything that you've got coming up? Because you've been doing like your own shows at the stand and things. That's exciting.
Yes. Well, I co-produce and host All Mouth with the wonderful Ray Brogan every month. It's at the Rum Shack,
Just around the corner from where we're
just
recording.
around the corner, and it's just such a great vibe show. I love it, and it's the only queer, consistent,
Mm.
professional comedy show possibly in the UK, but definitely
It
in
was very
Scotland.
welcoming. I went along a few months ago. It's a really fun little night yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, we try and keep it really, it's a nice place where I can feel like I can also, like, dress up a bit differently and play around with stuff. And then I have the very important panel show, or VIPs, as I call it, and that's a new show. Yeah, that's at the stand, and oh my, is it a lot of work, but it's fun.
I had a ticket bought last time, and then someone
Oh,
tried to steal
right.
my dad's car the same day, so I ended up not going.
That's wild.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
December 7th is the next one from 4 to 6
I'll
PM.
get on the diary.
Yeah, and it's fine. I think it'll be nicer on a Sunday 4 to 6 because,
Mm,
in an evening, you're like, it's an 8 to 10 PM show. It's late enough to then get home afterwards, and then it'll be fun, a little Sunday, get your, round off the weekend or get your Sunday night started.
mm,
And it's the key is I wanted a chaotic show. I wanted a show that was like controlled chaos,
yeah,
but there could be some like topical quizzing questions, but it's more chaotic than Taskmaster. It's not, as getting the question right as other topical shows, but it's that mix of like a bit of tasks, a bit of silliness, but like how can the comedians find creative ways of overcoming whatever task they're
yeah, yeah.
doing, or also just try and bribe me. I'm really open to that and very clear about being open to that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what other thing I mean, you mentioned the stuff that's online. like the sketch stuff, and you've done stuff for BBC Studio.
Yes. Yeah. Or BBC Short stuff.
Mm,
Um,
that's the one. Too
yes.
much, too many of them.
My one of my sketches was actually just re-released online by BBC Short Stuff slash I think it's just under BBC Scotland or comedy. So yeah, I did 7 of those, and Get Your Goat releases weekly. So that's
Nice.
also
Oh, links as always. Sure.
and it's fun again. It's just like we're trying to make it so that like A, to make it more accessible. If a comedian has an idea for a sketch, but they're like, "Oh, I don't really know how to do that," and da da da, come to us, we'll help you make it. Or what's the point of trying to get every comedian trying to become an individual viral sensation influencer online? Like, what if we have one place where everyone can kind of put their sketches or put their stuff
Yeah, yeah.
under, that it can be an umbrella for new talent and help people discover other people through, if they come for their friend, but they see someone
Mhm.
else, like trying to make it feel like more of a community thing. Cause I think that's the other thing
Yeah,
about modern day industry and also being online is it feels so competitive
it
and
does, yeah.
individual.
What I really enjoy about the small creator podcasty niche that I'm in, for where people do shows about the the TV industry in Scotland or like the UK, is how nice and supportive it is online.
Yeah.
So
Oh, really?
I never thought I'd do this. I always used to say I'll never do that, but I've started doing more like TikTok videos where it's me speaking to camera, going like, just interviewed Kate Hammer or whatever. And naturally not something I thought I'd ever do, but I kind
Yeah.
of, you get more comfortable with it. And what's lovely is you get people that are doing similar things that comment, and you meet people online. And it's quite a
Ah,
supportive space,
that's
which is quite
nice.
nice because, as you say, it does feel quite competitive. We're in an attention deficit age where everyone's like fighting for the attention. Like, listen to my reel, watch this.
Also, it's literally being given as advice, and all. It was somebody I know in a talent lab, and they had someone come in and
Really
talk to
going for
them.
talent labs.
No, but it wasn't the lab, it was this person coming in and saying they're trying to give advice on how to make it as a writer, and some of their advice was, "Try and have a moment, try and have a viral moment." And it's like, "What? Yeah, try and do something else, like, maybe you could be a pop
Mhm.
star, and that would be, that could help you then get
But what does
noticed,
that
and then
actually
we'll have a
mean, though?
show."
What does that mean?
It's so frustrating because it's like, you could have this thing, it's a Twitter account, you have a viral tweet, and then they wanna make a show, but haven't we learned that those don't work?
Well, it's like it's the old thing of like you go on a reality show and you get famous, but you for nothing. You just
Yes.
went on the
But
TV.
also it filters out, it's like one of the what was it? Shit My Dad Says, or
Mm.
My Dad
Wrote a
is a porno,
porno.
yeah, wrote a
It's not like
porno.
quite highly successful. They've not got quite a big.
No, no, but they have massive, but then when they start, it's when people they try to
Oh,
make a show
trying.
out of it,
Right. Okay.
and
Okay.
then that usually kind of
Yeah.
goes away. But the podcast itself super great, and you're like, why do we always need things to be other things? And they're like, yes, yes, because people will come to
That's the
watch the
reason.
show, and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
not necessarily.
And sometimes it's also that people have built like talent and outside of their followers. So for me, like I tried to be quite authentic on it and not. I'm just posting stuff. It's in my head. It's not. I'm not just going to pretend to do something to get like 25,000 views or a million views or whatever, and then people are going to come for that. But then that's not who I am, so they'll then not come back
Yeah,
because unless you're doing that all the time. So it's like, what's the point in that? It feels a bit
exactly.
empty almost.
Well, this is it. So it's like, why is the advice of being a good writer to do something else? And I like, in terms of making yourself a well-rounded
Mm.
person, yes, have multiple things. It is like, I also agree, there's a frustration around, even applying for TV jobs. So much of them were, ooh, do you have a background in journalism? I was like, no, I have a master's in TV writing because this is what I want to do. And I
Yeah.
put all my time and money into doing that thing.
Yeah, but I mean, but even going back to the marketing stuff, say you post a viral video that gets a million views and people come to see your stand-up show and it's nothing like that video, they're going to be pretty disappointed, aren't they? So
Yeah.
what's the point in doing that?
Yes. I
I mean, there's
mean,
benefits to getting online exposure and things,
no,
obviously,
but
but
it's also like, again, we've seen it time and time again. It's like, and I'm not saying every single person, because there's lots of influencers or lots of people who are successful online who would make an amazing show, who
mm,
I know would be a good
and
writer
who
and would have
probably
a
are, yeah, some of them are,
totally,
yeah.
exactly. So you're like, it's not as if everyone who is online isn't going to make, because there's going to be amazing shows,
Hmm.
but it's the problem that they associate, oh, because you have had a viral moment, people will watch you in this
Yeah.
show. And it's like, not unless unless they are a good writer, you pair them with a good writer, and then the show really is like good to watch. They just try and recreate. I don't know. It's this weird illness with like commissioners of being like, if they have this one thing that'll make a successful show, and it's like, why not just make a really great show?
I feel like this is the thing we're always trying to go. We want it to be like Fleabag. That was the
Yeah.
thing back in the day, right? But then,
Or Dairy
but
Girls.
it takes 2 years to make a show. So by the time you'd made the show and put it out, like that thing's moved on. So it's like, why don't we just make a great show? That'll be a great show. Completely.
Yeah,
I mean, being a commissioner is also hard as well. So I, again, don't envy it. For me, when I talk about these things, it's a systemic issue. It's not like a personal,
totally.
not going
Because
for
what
any.
are their bosses telling them
Yeah,
that they
exactly.
want? Like, it's
And
all
they're under
this.
pressure to deliver in with
Yeah.
time.
But I do think there's going to be like the shows that I really respect came from a self-driven place. And like some of my favorite creators are Nirvana the band, the show.
I'm not heard of it.
It's a Toronto-based, it started off as a web series that I don't think you can find, and then it was a
Mm,
show on Vice, and you can find most of the
okay,
episodes
okay.
on YouTube now. And then they oh, what did they do after oh, they did a bunch of stuff, but then Matt was the creator of Blackberry, the movie with
Okay.
Jay
Yeah, yeah, I remember
Baruchel,
seeing that.
massive,
Yeah.
and it was also a series on CBC, so he did both of those, and he was in it. And now they're touring around Nirvana the band, the show, the movie, which is
So they've gone back to their roots after the commercial.
and it's a film.
Yeah.
So that they filmed, but again, the way they did it, the way they made it so cheaply, what they were allowed to do is just like really I respect and am envious of, and just I'm like, this is what we need to be doing. It's just people,
Yeah.
because how many times in the industry are you told like oh, let's do this, well, we can't do that because of this and this and this, and you're like, I understand, but what if we found a way to make it happen? Or it's not going
Mm,
to look perfect. You're like, but what if there's just like I really want to find the
yeah.
people who are like, let's freaking try to do it. Let's
Yeah.
there's got to be a way to make this work, instead of going, well, it'd be too much work, so I don't really want to do that. And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to collaborate. Like, I want to collaborate with people who are passionate about making the thing.
It's so tricky at the moment, isn't it? We do need more, like, more risk taking.
Yeah,
We
and
just
I
don't.
like because
Yeah.
I know it feels antithetical to being like, well, we have less money, so we should be more careful with it. You see the same thing like in the theater world, or I'm sure a bunch of
Mm,
other industries, which is like, ooh, we have less, so let's do less. Let's close the doors. And you go, you actually need to be doing the opposite of like, we have less money, so let's open up the space to have people, hey, you want to rent out the space? You want to rehearse in the space? Like
mhm.
the more community you build, and the more
Yeah.
loyal, like if I felt like a theater was really investing in me, I'm going to give back, I'm going to
Yeah,
spread the
definitely.
word, I'm going to be an evangelist.
Yeah.
But the more theaters go, well, we don't rent to people because we don't want to, and you're like, but I just want to use a black box theater for a night,
Mm.
doesn't have to reflect your theater, no. And you're just like, okay. So that
I
I'm
mean,
like, well, I don't really want to,
that's what we
that's
need. We
great.
need more innovation, though. That's what we need across the board. It's like, how can people, in a time of lack of resources, money and stuff, what can bigger organizations do to help in a way that's not that expensive? Like, as you
Hmm.
say, is it just as simple as like use this space for a few hours this afternoon?
Yeah.
Or, people thought a lot of people are unemployed in TV. There's loads of desks at the Pacific Key BBC office. We'll do hot testing for people who are unemployed at the moment who just feel like they need a bit of community. It's little things like that could go so far.
That would be amazing. Like, you don't
So
even have to go through the security. You could be in the front of the BBC
even do it
building.
like you send an email and say, I've got, and they just clear you and get you in. It's
Yeah,
not like, as long as you're cleared, it's surely not.
that'd be amazing.
So there's loads of stuff we could do that
Yeah.
would be more
Or
innovative.
having more open access to
Yeah.
meetings. Like, it
Yeah.
feels it's all so gate kept and inconspicuous, because they're like, oh, well, we'll meet with your producer. And you're like, what about me? What about me, the
Yeah.
creator? Can I like just get in there and yeah.
And this even goes back, we were speaking before we started recording about like the way people are employed in a lot of these jobs. It's like, it's through people isn't it? So it's like, I think
Yeah.
there was a study, I've completely forgotten the stat, I'll edit it and if I can find it, but it's like, I think it was like the majority of jobs in TV and film work basically came from people either hiring someone they know as a contact or hiring a friend. So
Yeah.
again, watch it. If you come from a disadvantaged background, you don't have the contacts, you're just being pushed out of the opportunity to get in.
And it's
So
also
frustrating.
frustrating of being like, I know I'm a lot, and that not everyone's going to think that they want to be friends with me, which is terrible, but fine, can't force someone. But it's that thing of going, well, networking is, I'm not sure do they think
Mm,
I can do the job, but if I showed them my work and my resume and what I can do, like,
yeah,
sure, I'd be perfect for that job. But the people
exactly.
tend to go, and this is why things become a boys' club, because you have these people not questioning all the time, like, I really liked that guy. Yeah, why? Because it's comfortable to be around a
I
guy,
because
you know?
human instinct is you want to employ people that are like-minded to you. So
Yeah,
it's not even it can happen to anyone. It can happen to a middle class white female producer. It could happen to like a working class male. It can happen to anyone, like in those positions, because naturally, like, oh, they're kind of we got on because we had a similar upbringing. I'll bring them in, or we both like this thing. Where sometimes it's good to give it to somebody you have nothing in common with, so you're bringing in a like range of voices as well.
yeah,
And it's hard because I think again a lot of people don't maliciously mean it. A lot of people have got like a day to hire. They just need
totally.
somebody and they want to bring somebody in they can trust. But
Yeah.
it's hard. You have to sort of really look at yourself and go, I should have asked this person that I take a chance. I don't know.
It's
We need more.
questioning your subconscious and going,
Yeah.
"Why do I like this person?" And, like, that's it. Is it good to bring in someone who has
Yeah.
a different experience than me and it will challenge me? And it's
Yeah.
hard because a lot of people can see that as being like a negative attitude or oh, there's tension in the room. And you're like, no, if especially if we're creating story, we need people with different points of view who will
Yeah.
question a
Yeah.
story, not necessarily the legitimacy, but offering different points of view and going like, well, are we making this person look like a hero for doing something that, and having it's more the training of going, how can you not see that as a personal attack, but see it as a positive, challenging interaction which the industry
Mm-hmm.
needs versus like being like, don't stand up. Not that this has never happened to me, but somebody being like, don't stand up to me or like, don't
Mm.
say that. Yeah.
No, 100%. I think we spoke briefly about advice. Something I've started asking all my guests is like, what the worst advice I've ever received is. Have you ever had a really bit of bad advice or heard about bad advice in the industry?
Yeah. This is one that said, I said at a fringe panel, and somebody actually came up to me and was like, "Oh, I went to this panel and I loved this piece of advice you gave." So I'll say it here. Also, before I forget, I wanted to acknowledge that I'm wearing the Stand comedy socks.
There you go.
So thank you so
If you want
much.
to sponsor this episode, Stan, feel free to reach out and
They're fantastic. They will. They'll give you £5 at least. Mm.
yeah, I'll take it.
Um. So the worst advice I think is when somebody goes, make sure you are handing in the best version of this script, whether it's for an application or
Mm.
for a commission or for to a producer. Make sure it's perfect. Make sure it is perfect before you send it in. And it's not that I don't agree with that. It's that I'm not sure there is a perfect script
Mm.
because then you also get conflicting advice of going, well, if it's done, then a producer or commissioner, they want to put their thumbprint on. They want to help develop it,
Mm.
so they don't want it to be done. But then also, yeah, well, if it's not perfect, it's not your best writing, then they're not going to commission it. I think it disproportionately would probably get in the head of women, non-binary people or non-gender conforming people and neurodiverse people who feel the anxiety of perfection more than maybe, let's say, just being in the comedy field, like straight white guy who bombs a show, walks off stage, goes, nailed that. Like I've seen that so many times where I go, oh my God, to have the confidence of that guy, that would be
Yeah.
amazing because he is so untouched by what just happens. And he'll keep going and he'll probably get better until he does make it. The people who
Just have that less self-esteem.
less
Perfectionist.
esteem,
Some people are just perfectionists.
more affected by rejection as well,
Yeah.
because then they're gonna go like, "Oh my God, they hated me out there, and so I'm never gonna do comedy again." And those are the voices we need. So I feel like something got into my eye. But for scripts, it's that like, well, no, it needs to be perfect, and it's held me
Yeah.
back from applying so much. Like, oh, it's not good enough because then if I hand it in and then they don't like it, and they're gonna put my name on
Yeah.
this list and never want to
Well,
work
I
with
think
me
there's a
again.
difference between someone being perfect and someone being like good enough to make a good impression. And again, I used to get frustrated because I'm dyslexic, and we'll wrap up because I've got quite a few questions about because we always talk about neurodivergent when you come on about your
Yeah.
ADHD and stuff. But because I'm dyslexic, I used to hate it when I hear producers say spell mistakes. If there's spell mistakes in a script, like it's just not worth it. Clearly not taking the time, and it's like, does it really matter? Obviously, if you can get someone else to read your script,
Yes.
proofread it. Obviously, but some people you are going to miss it. If a script is great, who cares if it's got a
Final
few
draft
commas?
misses
It
stuff
does, it
too.
does, and
It's very
it's also if you're
frustrating.
writing a 90-page thing, right? It's okay to have a few typos. For me, it doesn't really matter that much. Obviously, even if you're filming something, like, as long as we can understand it, I
I
think there's too
thought
much
I
snobbery around that.
I thought I didn't, like, make mistakes because I was like, "Yeah," and then I reread that script and I was like, "Oh my gosh," like, there's just a word missing, but your brain fills in
Yeah,
so
but
much.
even as a reader, it does. So you know what people mean. If somebody's missed the word there, for me as a reader, I'm like, oh, we can't work with them. They're so lazy. There's a
Yeah.
weird we attach like bad grammar, bad spelling to people being lazy. And it really
Yeah.
frustrates me as someone with dyslexia because I'm like, we're really hard work. It's actually harder. We sometimes have to work harder. So
Yeah.
and we really need to watch that for sure.
No, and that's frustrating to be like, "Oh, my script might be thrown out because of this
Mm.
one thing." Because 'cause you're like, "Yeah, if you make one little change," and again, final draft really isn't great.
It's kind of sucks. I don't know why we have to use it for everything. I'm so nice.
It really sometimes I'll be like, anyway, won't get into
Mm.
that. But yeah, it's like, so just do the thing. I hate this pressure that, like, companies kind of make us feel like they're putting us onto of, like, if you don't hand in the perfect thing, then we're not gonna do it. You could hand in the perfect thing, and it still won't get chosen because they've
There's
just
always
decided to go
notes.
for
People
something else.
give notes in the
There's
last.
always
There's a
the
note.
script will never be
You
done.
film a show and then there's notes in the edit.
Yes,
Do you know
of
what I mean?
course.
Nothing's ever perfect because it's subjective as well.
Exactly. So nothing's ever perfect, but also, like, don't feel like you are ruining your
Yeah,
career.
yeah, yeah.
Like, that's what I think the intensity of it is. If you submit a script not done yet, then you're done. This was your chance. And we
Mm.
put so much pressure on it being like, this is my time, this is my one thing, that then, yeah, it gets into your head and we put so much pressure on it. Then when you don't get it because they just were gonna go with something else anyway,
Definitely.
it's crushing to you.
Yeah, it really is.
But if and I'm not saying hand in shit. Hand in good things. Make
Make
sure
a good
it's
impression.
make
Yeah.
it more than good enough. Make you wanna feel great about what you're handing in. But if you are holding back because it's not perfect, like, get yourself out there. Have the meetings. You know, how many people again, you're gonna have audiences that don't love you. You're gonna have readers that don't love
And you've
you.
got to fail. You've got to.
You've gotta fail,
Yeah.
put yourself out there, and, like, I guess, like, this and again, this is advice I give everywhere, is, like, I have a rejections quota that I wanna make
I
every
love
year.
one to it. Yeah, it's a great thing to do. I'm trying to hit 100 rejections or
Yeah.
whatever, because then you're going to get yeses along the way.
Yeah, well, it gets you get to give you a check mark when
Mm.
I receive a rejection and go, "Well, I put myself out there, I did a
I love
thing,"
that.
and it still
Really
feels
nice.
like you're getting better or you're at
Mm.
least doing stuff and you're marking that you're
Yeah, you're
working.
trying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
100%.
nice.
I love that. No, I need to get better at doing that myself. It's just turn it into a positive. It's a great
Yeah,
reframe.
just
Before we sort of wrap up, Kate, 'cause I know we've been recording for like 45 minutes and 50 minutes, whatever it is, but you sort of ADHD and stuff now, you're a full-time comic. How are you finding like the late nights, having big high energy and then having to go and sleep after and get up and
I mean, this is the nice thing is, like, my schedule has totally shifted. So I now go to bed at, like, 2 and I wake up at 10. That's
do
and it's very
8 hours?
strange. Yeah, but this is it. It's 8 hours, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to try to go to bed a bit earlier. Last night was a bit earlier. But, like, sometimes it's that yeah, it's just I've always been more of a night owl, so it feels, like, more natural, and it feels nice to go, "Okay, I love working at night. I
Yeah.
love doing stuff at night," and it just means that when I am doing shows, I'm not feeling like, "Oh, I gotta get home and I got to get to sleep," 'cause there's a stress
Yeah,
of
yeah.
needing
And
to
10
wake up
doesn't
early.
feel that late, that like late to get up, really.
No, 'cause I get up, try and go for a run, and then I can, like, start my day
Are
and
you
start
able are you good at that?
yeah, I
I
think
mean, I know we
that's
rec
this is the tough thing is going, well, how do I make sure, like, I still am doing other work during the day? The amount of emails or the amount of work
oh
that
my
these
god.
shows
It ends
and keeping on top of everything and even just, like, little life stuff. Like,
mm,
yesterday, I walked into town to drop off clothes at a charity shop, and then I got a skirt that needed to be hemmed, and then I went to
mm.
get a necklace fixed. Turns out the price of gold has, like, quadrupled in the last 10 years, so I can't afford to get I was like, £90 for a clasp? I was like, "I'll wait till gold drops back down." But you're just
Mm.
like, all these little life admin that I've been putting off for
Yeah,
months that
yeah.
I hate to see on my to-do list, finding time to do them. I do still think that, like, I'm not properly relaxing. So I'm
Mm.
still feeling like I'm in this state of, like, burnout. Well, I'll try and just, like, watch some TV, and I get stuck in this cycle of, like, well, that's, like, dissonance. That's not
Yeah, I know what you mean.
relaxing. So it is tricky.
I mean, for me, I always find when I'm trying to relax, I'm always thinking, but you should be more productive to do this because if you don't do
Yeah.
this, then you're not gonna, this thing might not happen, and then you're a failure. And it's like, oh my god, I like to have an evening off. Like,
I know. It's hard. It's that I wanna get everything done. That's why I'm doing my taxes now, so I'm like,
mm,
then it's done and off my list, and I can then do the other things, but
yeah,
it's like the other things are just work. It's not real relaxation.
I think it's one of the toughest parts about being a creative. But before we wrap up, you tell this story at stand up, and you didn't tell us when you're working that time, but can you tell the listeners your airport story? Because I think this is brilliant. It's a great place. And this is your viral moment.
I'll do, like 'cause actually I haven't thought about it in a while. Actually, I wonder if, so I paid £200 to show up to the airport 2 hours early and wish my plane a good flight. And yeah, I basically, was visiting friends in Paris, on a super quick I just, like, was working so much, went down, and then needed to get back on Sunday night, was so exhausted, working on an application that was due, like, at midnight. And around the gate was all these, like, Disneyfied kids screaming to go home, and I was like, oh. So I went, like, a gate over basically to work. But I was keeping an eye on time and, like, trying to listen to the announcements, which all sounded like like it was impossible. But there was a flight that left before mine, uh, right, but, like, I could see it, like, to
Mhm.
Manchester, and it left like 20 minutes before my flight. So they just started like lining up and going into the plane. I went, great. So I'll now go over to my gate because it's leaving before mine. So mine should now,
Mm.
start boarding in 20 minutes. And I show up and the gate's empty. And I was like, oh my God, did they move the gate? Like, where is it now? And the woman just went, "Y we left." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, the plane left. We called you." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, I didn't think they were allowed to leave once you like, I had
Oh,
checked through security and had my
yeah.
passport. The plane left fucking early. EasyJet left early. This never happens. Like, what? This shouldn't be allowed to happen. They're always so late, and then they get mad at you when they leave 20 minutes early, and they don't even try to fucking get you. And I was just like, "This can't be happening." They wouldn't let me on the Manchester flight. There was no other flights
Oh
leaving to
my
the
God.
UK. I was freaking out. I had to, like, go outside. I didn't know what to do. I was like, "I need to stay close to the airport so that I can, like, get the first flight in the morning." I was hoping I could still make it into work because Glasgow Airport was right by where, so I was like, "Oh, okay, this is fine." It was so insane. No taxi wanted to take me, to a nearby hotel. I had to, like, bribe someone
Oh my
and
God.
pay an extortionate amount, to get to this hotel, finish my application crying, send it in. Didn't get it, by the way. Not even worth it. And then, like, rebook for the earliest flight I could, but even that wasn't gonna get me in. It was, like, leaving at 10 AM or something. So I was like, shoot, I'm out of holiday days and I can't like I felt so embarrassed by like I messed
Mm.
up. It's not the
Yeah.
plane didn't cancel. I just missed it. And I was so frustrated being like, I wish there was a lesson. Like, what do I get out of this? Is there like but I didn't want anyone to get hurt, but I kind of wanted that plane to crash a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like just a tiny bit, just for them to like touch down somewhere they shouldn't. Just so
Like, what do you call it? Like the bird thing? What's that called again? Like,
yeah, something
yeah.
happened where it's just like, then I go, "Oh my god, there's a reason I didn't get on that flight. I was saved." That's what I wanted. But no, nothing. Flight was fine. I have to tell my boss that I, like, had a celiac reaction, which, to be honest, my body was not doing well with the stress. And don't fine, accept that I've spent just, like, money on a hotel and all of this extra money just to get home. My own fault. Okay, fine. Go into the airport. I'm, like, looking at you're passing the same steps, you're like, "Wow, back again, so soon." And I pass through security, I go to, the shop, I'm like,
Mm.
"Okay, I'm in, I'm going home." I buy some mustard, I buy some really nice mustard, and then you go through a second set of gates towards my flight, and only then I didn't realize they hadn't checked my passport until then. Only then did they like, "I need your passport," and I was like, what the hell? I always kept it in my little pouch. I was like, in my pocket? I packed it in my bag? I now, at this gate, I'm like having to tear my entire bag apart to look for this passport. Like taking everything and patting everything down. My diva cup is just rolling on the ground because and there was this moment where I'm like, what is happening to my life right now? It's a mess. My D, be free, diva cup. Like, I don't know, I'm trapped here, but you can go home. And it was nowhere. And I'm like calling the hotel. I was like, is it in the room? Like, I don't understand. I just had it this morning to check in for my flight in the hotel. I don't understand. I always keep it here. And again, it's just like one thing out of process. And because I'm so visual, anyway, I'll reveal what happened later. So I call the hotel again. They're like, no, stop calling. We don't have your passport. We checked your room. And I was like, okay. At this point, I like have to tell the police that I think my passport has been stolen. They do a whole scan. They look at my bag. They're like, your passport's not in there. You're going to have to get a temporary emergency passport. You have to go back into Paris and do this. It's gonna take at least a week to do that, by the way. It's not like you pay a bunch of
And
money and
you've
you get
called
a
in
day.
sick to work?
I'm called in sick for 1 day, Jamie, and I'm like, "How am I now gonna explain to my boss that I fucked this up so bad that, like, I actually can't turn like, what how do I now I have to admit that I've lied because I thought it was only a day delay because I messed up, and I was just like, "Oh
No.
my gosh." So panicking, so I go out to try and rebook my flight. Turns out rebooking, like saying, "Hey, I've missed or I'm not going to make this flight, so I need to rebook it." More expensive than just buying a new flight. So I've now paid for 2 flights and I need to book a third. But I don't know when I'm gonna get my passport back, right? So I'm in line to rebook this flight, like just at the bottom of my life, being like, oh great, I really wanted to spend 400 pounds on nothing, on nothing. And then I get a call from the hotel being like, we found your passport. And I was like, because the first time I got to the airport so early that when I called, they found it, I would have been able to
You
go
go
out,
back, yeah.
get it, come back and make the same flight. I really would have. So, like, I went up to the security desk, like the trial. I was like, "Is there any passport here?" Like, I thought I lost it in the airport. So finally, anyway, so they say that, and I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to make it. I'm so angry at you guys, but at least you found it, right? At least I can still get home today." So rebook my flight for later in the day, like 5 p.m. at this point, or like 4 or 5 p.m. Take the bus to my hotel, pick it up, and I was asking, I was like, "Sorry, what like happened? Because you said you went up and checked the room twice, and you didn't find it. Now you found it." And she was just like, "It's found now. Just be happy." And I was like, "Okay, thank you so much, Easy Hotel. Fuck you. And you left me early on a flight, then you screw me over in the hotel." I feel like it's part of their thing to like, if we then
Yeah.
EasyJet gets more money if we just keep delaying her.
Like, I had the passport.
Yeah. I think what happened is probably like put everything on my bed to pack
Mhm.
so I can visualize it. Probably happened is if I pulled the sheet and it covered the passport, then when I did the scan of the room, like I wouldn't have seen
Yeah.
it. One thing out of line.
And you're so focused on it, I just need to make this flight.
Yeah. So anyway, I need to make the bus to make the flight. I had to like walk across a highway to get to the bus stop. It was so crazy. So anyway, finally get my passport, bus back, and I, with my mustard, they're like, you can't take this through
Oh no,
security.
that's the worst.
It was one of those things where I was just like,
Oh,
the
fuck
third
this.
time passing all these restaurants, I feel like you're my family. And I just looked at him and I was like, I was just here an hour ago. Please, please let me take my mustard. Like, this is all I have left at this point is this mustard. And I know it's above 100 milliliters, but you can see that I've just bought it. I was there and then had to leave. And he let me keep the mustard. And I made it home. I had to cancel an improv show because I wasn't going to make it back that night. And
I think the moral story is that the difficulty of having to apply for all these talent schemes and opportunities as a freelance creative and having ADHD.
yeah, this is it. It's like all I wanted to do was get a bit of funding to make a documentary, and you're staying up on a Sunday night to do that, and then they say no, and you go, that's okay, but this cost me at least 500 pounds.
Well, at least you get a good little stuff.
I know I need to work on it because it was. I was like, oh, I think.
Well, at the time, I just thought you had to see like reaction at work. So when I went to see you do stand up and you told the story, I was dying. Okay, Hammer, anything else you want to quickly plug before we wrap?
No, you can't. I think you can't use that against me. BBC can't take that against me. No, I think that's it. Follow me online and like and comment on my videos and give me money as well.
Hammer, it's always a pleasure. None of this was planned, and it's been a great chat.
It's been amazing.
We covered lots of stuff. Thank you. Pleasure as always. Go and follow Kate's stuff. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. Thank you.
Just get a real job.